is Caroline North. Around the world, to all time zones, at carolinenorth.com. 50 years ago, a ship set sail from the south of England, and then it headed up to Ramsey Bay, and it was called Caroline North. The rest, as they say, is history, and here we are to commemorate it, and we're almost towards the end of our tenure at this stage. We've been on air since March 31st. With all the ups and downs and fun, it's so much fun. This is the last week of Caroline North, and just the other day we had a visit here to the Planet Bar Lightship from a very important person by royal command. Here he is, let him introduce himself. And this is a very special interview, about 5 minutes long. Take a listen, you're going to learn something. Here he is.
I'm Ian Meadows, and I'm High Sheriff of Merseyside for the year 2013-14. I've just completed almost the whole year, and in fact finish on Wednesday morning, this coming Wednesday morning. This is the oldest secular role in the country, and I'm the Queen's judicial representative on Merseyside. 1,000 years ago, when High Sheriffs were first created, they were all powerful. They were responsible for law and order. They were responsible for raising an army in the county. They were responsible for taxation, for administration, the whole thing. And frankly, over the last 1,000 years rather, we've lost all our power.
Henry VIII, what was his part in that?
Well, Henry VIII wanted to get rid of his queen, didn't he? He wanted to get divorced from Catherine of Aragon, and the only way he could do it was to become head of his own church. So he said the Pope wasn't the head of the church anymore, and but most of it, in fact, all the wealthy people in Britain were Catholics at that time. Everybody else was happy to become a Protestant if that's what they were told to do by the boss, but the wealthy families wanted to stay Catholic, and they were able to, provided that they paid massive fines every year, and in fact it ruined many old families, and sadly the High Sheriffs, who were also wealthy people in those days, they had to collect the fines, so they became not very good friends of the big families of the counties. So nobody wanted to do the job as High Sheriff, but Queen Elizabeth I found the way to resolve that problem, because she was given the name of the person who was proposed next to be High Sheriff in each county, and instead of signing it and saying yes, that should be the guy, she got a bodkin and pushed the bodkin right through the name so that there was no way he could get out of doing the job, and that happens to this day.
In the 1800s there was a change in the role.
Yeah, well, taxation was centralised, and so we'd lost... Oh, sorry, I should have said that when Henry VIII became head of the Church of England, he also decided that he couldn't trust High Sheriffs as far as raising an army was concerned, so he introduced Lord Lieutenant. So a Lord Lieutenant is the personal representative of the monarch, and their job in those days was to raise an army, so I lost that role. Then I lost taxation in the 1800s, and now I'm just the titular head of the judiciary. So when High Court judges come to Merseyside, it's my job to look after them.
And your diary, how has it worked out so far? When did you take up the role first?
Gosh, I can hardly remember the date now. I think it was in the middle of April last year anyway, and I guess we've had something in excess of 450 engagements.
And all enjoyable, or some of them?
Well, it's a great mixture, but extraordinarily. One of the early people I met was a young girl in a school who was put forward to get a prize, and I can hardly believe it. As I was coming on board the ship today, she was standing just on the shore with her parents, and it was absolutely wonderful to meet her again.
Well, that must be the following that you've had. You seem like a really nice and likeable man. So
well, I don't know about that, but I've learned to tweet, and I think we've got quite a few hundred followers on Twitter
now. When do you hand up all of your regalia and your role?
No, I keep the regalia. That's I got that for life. Having had to buy it,
Will you wear it to fancy dress parties?
No, not to fancy dress parties. It's too important for that. But maybe if I get an audition in a Gilbert and Sullivan opera, maybe there's a chance I might wear it then.
Well, I'm just writing my number and my email down, so you never know. We could maybe do business in the future. Now, I was just going to ask you one further question. What's the connection with my own native royal county of Meath?
Well, my partner Lizzie comes from County Meath, from Slane, so that's
Our affectionate title for the Queen, and not being disrespectful, is Lizzie.
Is that right? Well, the affectionate title for Lizzie as the High Sheriff's partner is the Sheriffina, and I think that's a brilliant name.
Now, tell me the other thing about when you raise a glass and you raise it to the Queen. How exactly should one do it in this area?
In this area, we are in the County Palatine of Lancaster, and the Queen is the Duke of Lancaster, so we always lift our glasses and say, the Queen, Duke of Lancaster.
Now, we're in the Duchy of Lancaster. How is that divided up into?
Well, it's the old Lancashire. It's the old County Palatine of Lancaster, and because the politicians created Greater Manchester and Merseyside in the 70s, we retained the ability to have a High Sheriff. And that's how it's happened.
You're a busy man. I'm going to let you go, and thank you. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you for letting me come on board.
Thank you, and I wish you very much success in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Ian Meadows talking to me there. He's the High Sheriff of Merseyside on Caroline North, and right now beside me, Alan Turner. Alan, good morning.
Back again?
Back again.
Yes,
and
morning, listeners.